That was very kind of my musicians to fade out right when they did. That was perfect. All right, good evening, everyone. Hopefully you've had a wonderful week and have enjoyed a little bit cooler temperatures, at least here in the valley. It's certainly been that way. Ariel is she got stuck in traffic, but she is with us and will be supporting us, and eventually
Hi,
she
I'm
might.
here. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, that's fine. That is fine. This week, I'm really excited about this week. This week, we're going to hear more about your business idea. That's what we're focusing on. Before we jump into that, there were several. In fact, there were more than 10. There were 12 or even more individuals who registered after last week's class, and we're fine with having more people join. And hopefully, if you are new, you had an opportunity to take a look at the recording of last week, so you're caught up. If you we're not going to revisit a lot of last week, but if you do have questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out to me and or Ariel, and we can get you caught up if you feel a need after tonight. Before we jump into the slides, into the presentation today, is there any feedback or learning or questions that came up over the last week? So last week we actually talked about 3 different things about entrepreneurism at the beginning. We talked about entrepreneurial traits and got to your superpowers, and then we really focused on your goals and identifying specific goals associated with this effort, and most specifically personal goals that you would like this effort to help you attain. And yeah, that's where we left it. So John, I saw your hand up. Did you have a question?
Who's John? I'm sorry, that must have been me. I was waving to somebody out the window.
Oh, just
sorry.
Looked like no problem. No problem. So any questions, or I'm not sure that I can see everybody. So let me change this so that I can see more of you. There, I think I've got everybody now. All right. Well, if you don't have any questions, let's go ahead and jump in. Again, I hope everybody had a great week, and I'm looking forward to a great night tonight. So let me go ahead and share. Well, I got to stop sharing that. I'm going to share. Okay. Going to need to change something really quick, so give me a second. Okay, give me a second here. I got to stop that share. For some reason it's not showing me all. There we are, all of my screens. That's what I want. Okay, just to make certain that we are looking at the right thing, is everybody looking at Lane's startup? Welcome to session 2. Good, thank you. And I will, if I just keep plowing through, I did commit last week to break about an hour in. So when we get to that point, if I seem to be ignoring that fact, just let me know. And feel free to stop me at any time as we're moving through this content. Again, I'm really excited about this week, and I can let that excitement kind of drive me forward. So once again, our work here is all about establishing as much clarity and confidence as possible around the most essential things you need to understand, that you need to know when you're starting a business. These are things that can set you way ahead in this process and set you up for greater success. Last week, we talked about success metrics and ultimately defining a specific financial metric that you will want this business to meet in order to call it successful. Today, we're talking about your business idea, and we're answering the question, what problem will you solve and how? Okay, how are you going to do it? The first four, which is the first half of this program, the first four elements here, all lead to hopefully a yes to that overarching question: can you sell your product or service in a way that accomplishes your goals? Got to get to yes there before you move on and actually start building out the business structure itself. Until you've got a yes there, there's no sense in moving forward, right? So, but today we're talking about the business idea. So we're going to be looking at three different topics, three critical questions. In Unit A today, we're talking about the problem worth solving. You will often see this written as PWS, stands for problem worth solving. The critical question there is, what problem will you solve and why does it matter? And yeah, it's one of my favorite aspects of business ideation, and it's one of the areas where we can fool ourselves into thinking we've got something important when we don't. So that's always a great discussion. Unit B is your solution. What is your solution and what makes it special? So we're adding into your solution that unique value proposition conversation as well. And then in Unit C, I'm going to introduce you to the business built simple mission statement. And I don't know that I actually mentioned business built simple, but that's the brand that I created to house this clarity framework. So all of this is part of the business built simple curriculum. And the business built simple mission statement was explicitly designed to help you craft at least a startup mission statement. It might not be the mission statement you live with long term, but a startup mission statement that that allows you to clearly and confidently state your business idea. That's what this mission statement is. So it's if you were, it's an equation that gives you a statement that should work well. So those are the three topics we're going to be looking at today. And we're starting now with Unit A, a problem worth solving. So what problem will you solve and why does it matter? So let's first do just a quick overview of the different types of problems there are out there. Most of you, perhaps all of you, will have an idea in mind, but it's good to understand that there are different types of problems out there because some of you may end up pivoting. Some of you may end up making changes to your business idea. And by recognizing the different types of problems that people can solve, that can help create greater opportunity for your pivot. So the first thing to think about are just human needs, right? If you look up what type of problems are there for businesses, you're going to get all sorts of lists. I've looked at a bunch of them and I eventually realized that none of those lists are any better than Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which has been around for 80 years. And it just describes human need from a foundational standpoint up to self-actualization. And the idea here is that individuals need the needs at the bottom completed. They need those fulfilled before they can successfully move up. And when you think about business and business opportunity, you might think, well, air, water, food, those are basic sustenance. Those are, as described here, physiological needs. If I have a business that serves a physiological need, I mean, everybody's going to need what I have to offer. And you wouldn't be wrong. But of course, business understands that too. So at the bottom of this, if you are providing physiological support through your business, then there's going to be a lot of competition. This is where commodities are. This is where there is so much competition that you have very little control over pricing. It's really hard to, to stand out in that space. But as you move up, perhaps you are at the top of this where you're providing, a very niche, very specialized service or product for a small group of individuals. There, you have much greater control, much greater flexibility over pricing and how you create and manage your product, your solution, your business. But the number of people who are going to be your client base, your market, is going to be much smaller. So there's the give and take there. This is just a way to think about kind of the level of need and the size of market that you may find with your product. It's at least that it works for me. This is another list, and I'm going to have to get in here to read it on my screen. This is another list of needs, and this was actually created by a group, and some of you might actually be interested in this organization. It's called 1millionstartups.com, and the number one in that case is actually a number. I'm going to put it in the chat right here. This is an organization. They're based out of Vienna, Austria, and they support businesses that have or that serve one or more of these sustainable development goals. So if you have a business that you consider a social enterprise that is making the world a better place, that fits this model, check them out. I don't know too much about them, but they seem like a really interesting community of like-minded businesses that exist to make the world a better place. But they've listed these 17 different areas of need, from marine life to climate action. You can read these here. So these are other problems that people have identified that can be solved, or you can build a business around. And then very simply, there are local goals or local needs and global needs. I think last week I mentioned I live in Coburg, and there's no donut shops in Coburg, and I might think that that's a need. Now, it's a very local need. It only applies to Coburg. In fact, it really might only apply to my house, but it is a very, that's my need that I've identified. Alternatively, I might decide that our global reliance on fossil fuels, that's a problem that needs solving. Obviously, that's a global issue. So problems can be identified in many, many different ways, but keep this in mind. Whether a problem is ultimately worth solving is determined not by you, but by the market. And this plays out all the time with startup businesses. If I have an idea and I go through the effort of building a business structure, even imagining a business built around this idea, I clearly have a very strong belief that this is something that's needed in the world. That doesn't mean it's going to be successful. That doesn't mean the market's going to agree with me. And unfortunately, that happens far more often than you might imagine, where a business gets all the way started up and running, only then to find out that there's no market need for their product. Now, maybe there could be through better marketing. There's always, other explanations, but it is actually the most common reason startups fail. You'll often read that startups fail because they run out of money. That's not really a fair statement. That's like saying cars stopped working because it didn't go forward anymore. I mean, that doesn't matter. A car stopped working because something was broken. And in the case of businesses, they stop working because something is broken in the model. And what they've found, again, is that the most common reason, the most common breakage in a business is that there was simply not enough market need to keep them going. So it's really important to remember that. And as Simon Sinek put it, people rarely buy what they need, they buy what they want. When people have an opportunity, we might think people need to just kind of look around, and for me, I can look at myself, I can look in the mirror. I know I need to buy more retirement savings, but I'm not. Why? Because that's not what I want. Okay, I want more fun, right? So it's just humans being human. So we have to recognize that all of this is in place as we build out our business, think of the business idea, and ultimately market it. All of this comes into play. And here are a couple examples of not so successful and more successful business ideas. So Anybody my age or older is very aware of the Betamax VHS or Beta VHS battle back in the late 70s and early 80s. Betamax was a videotape format that was higher quality, notably higher quality than VHS at about the same cost. And but not quite the same cost, nor did the tape last quite as long. It couldn't record for quite as long. So there were these small but important differences. But the Sony, who owned Betamax, insisted that the quality of Betamax demanded that it be the winning product. And so they kept at it for almost a decade, trying to convince the world that the Betamax tape was better. And they just lost. And they could objectively say, this is what we believe the world needs. They need our tape because it's better. And that didn't matter. The market chose, and the market chose VHS. So there's an example where you have something that you can make an objective case for it being better, but the market didn't agree. And then you've got sort of the other side of this, where nobody needed a pet rock, right? Well, one could say that, but he sold 1 million of them. Okay, the guy that did this sold 1 million pet rocks at $4 a piece and made himself a millionaire, right? It was a flash in the pan type of business, but it did make him a lot of money. And it's interesting because when you think about, well, what is the problem worth solving here? What is the problem? He actually has an answer for that. He actually came up with the idea when guys that he was going out drinking with were complaining about their pets and having to clean up after their pets and having to walk their pets and all of that. And he thought, well, if I have a pet rock, I don't have to do any of that. And that led to the pet rock, where the most expensive part of the pet rock was the box, right? Nothing else actually cost him a thing. So, well, actually, he did make that book, and the book was really funny. There was, I had one. I wish I still had it. I had my pet rock when I was a kid, but the book was hilarious. Anyway, it just goes to show you that needs and wants are ultimately determined by the market and not necessarily by either the founder or, in this case, by reason. So as you're thinking about your problem worth solving, just keep that in mind. So we're going to go ahead and jump into a breakout here. This is a little early, but I'm going to give us a lot of time here at the end to talk about, to really share your mission statements. So we're going to do breakouts here. Let's just do groups of, we'll do groups of 4. And we'll do a 10-minute breakout or so. And the question that I would like you to answer within your groups is, what problem will you solve and why does it matter? And we all recognize at this point, you may not have any market commentary to tell you whether why you think it matters really does. But just give it your best guess. Why do you believe the problem that you're solving matters? Now, before we jump into this, I'd love to, if anybody has questions about this, maybe questions about their particular product or anything that's not quite clear, let's have that conversation now before we go into the breakout rooms. No? Everybody feels good? Man, I am a good instructor. All right. Okay, so let me stop sharing so that I can create breakouts, and we will create breakouts with 4 to 5. I'm gonna make it 4 to 5 and make it, say, a 12-minute breakout, so you'll have time for each of you to talk for a couple minutes at least. So there you go. I'm going to hang out here. In case anybody has a question, feel free to come back, leave your room, and you can go back in after the fact. Hello, Eric and Clem. I apologize. I don't know how long you've been in the waiting room, but I'm going to go ahead and drop you into assign you to breakout rooms. And if you're hearing me, and the conversation in this breakout room, you are answering the question, what problem do you plan to solve with your business? And why does it matter? Why is it important? At least as best as you can define. So go ahead and join these.
For this.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome back. So I'd like to take a little time and hear some examples and sort of discuss any challenges people are having with their the problem, and in particular the the why does it matter piece. So let's hear from a few of you. Let's hear from a few of you, either yours or perhaps somebody's problem that you're really excited about.
Okay, I'll go.
Thank you.
I took over a bead shop. So I get to fulfill people's ideas for creativity and perhaps, creating new things, repairing old pieces, trying to keep it short and simple. Why does it matter? People need creative outlets artistically. Joe and I were discussing that, being that she has her art shop. We need the arts. They're essential and they're vital to our lives historically and going forward. We'll always need them. So being able to provide that in many different facets is great.
Yeah. Okay. And I began my professional life as an artist, so I am not going to disagree with you. I will ask, and Richard, you'll be next. Richard, do you want to go next, or do you want to comment on
No,
hers?
actually, I'll kind of give my little pitch as well.
Okay, give me
I'll
one
go
give me 1 second. So so that statement that people need a creative outlet, I do not disagree. I don't think anybody would really disagree with that. Hold on, Ariel is in the waiting room for us. Okay, I don't think anybody would actually disagree with that. In terms of whether that particular problem will drive people to your shop is a different, that's a different question. So I would make the argument that yes, people need a creative outlet, and for your shop to benefit from that problem, from that need, you are going to have to position yourself through your branding, through your marketing, as a place where people know they go when they want that creative outlet.
Okay.
Because whether or not they find you on their own, just when they, as they're thinking, oh, I want to do something different, I think there's a question mark there. Now, you can count on, if you are taking over an existing business, you should be able to count on a consistency. So you should be able to count on those who already know you are there continuing to come, but you also have to replenish that. And I think there's opportunity there to really to brand the heck out of the idea that this is the place where people go to release their intercreative selves, right?
Sweet. Thank you.
Richard.
Okay, so what my proposal is, my business is that I'm gonna build floating homes.
Mhm.
And so I think I've come up with an innovative, unique way to actually make floating homes. If you guys can imagine a tiny home on floats, there's literally hundreds and hundreds of marina spaces available in the state of Oregon. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel in any shape, but I have a brand new idea that I think is going to be a lot more cost effective, a lot more water conscious, a lot more power conscious. And also, I think there's going to be a lot of water rising problems in the future. And these types of situations might be something that could be considered for the future.
Okay. Again, I don't disagree with anything you're saying, Richard. I love the idea. I think it's great. When we're thinking about problems, the problem worth solving, it is really important to think from the consumer's point of view. So among all of the things you described, not getting caught in a future flood, that's one. That is a problem that, that somebody might think about. I would make the case that a lot of what you're describing has large scale environmental and socio-environmental impact. How much of that will be a reason for somebody to come and buy what you have to sell? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I would think from the buyer's point of view, what is going to cause someone to want to buy what you have to offer? I think there's more in there. I think there are more direct problems that, and this is getting to the worth solving part. Yes, you've got a lot of big ticket items, a lot of big topics that are definitely worth solving from a global standpoint, but are they worth solving from the buyer's standpoint? No, maybe they
Actually,
are.
that's a great point. I formerly worked for the Port of Siuslaw, and I actually was the project coordinator, and I actually mitigated some of those exact concerns that we'll be facing. There's going to be a lot of work with the DEQ, a lot with NOAA, a lot with environmental agencies, and in fact, some places are just going to just flat refuse them. But there's already marinas available, there's slips available. So if I could actually get a product going, I feel pretty comfortable that they're going to be in the price range. Yeah. And I will actually address the mitigation concerns, including vegetation. I've looked at all the stuff that I know that the people are going to hit us with.
I'll just one more comment. I think that the most pressing problem we're solving, that you are solving, is the fact that there is simply no place for people to live affordably in Blaine County. There's just no place for people to live. So I think if you just get as specific as that, I think you've got a strong case. Jennifer.
I'll run down a real brief from our breakout, if that's okay. Natalie is a baker, and she's her baking business supports her farm, and she is solving the problem of hungry shoppers wanting indulgent treats at the farmers markets. And why it matters is because everyone gets hungry, and it's nice to be able to provide an indulgent fancy treat. Maya is starting a clothing brand. The problem she's solving is to provide confidence for individuals at a younger age. So girls' clothing, not knowing how to shop and become their own person. And why it matters is because it solves self-esteem issues for young people, not necessarily just girls. And Nancy works with donkeys, and the problem she's solving is to assist kind of a service animal, where she assists with self-confidence, helping people get past their fear, and self-regulation for students. And why it matters is because when you do a weird task with a large animal, it helps to empower the individual. For myself, I'm starting a bookkeeping business, and the problem I'm solving is taking it from the problem I'm solving is assisting small business owners in creating accurate financials, allowing them to work on their business instead of in their business. And it matters because everybody needs good, clean financials for taxes and financial banking stuff.
Excellent and fantastic job getting through all of that so quickly. So yeah, I love all of those. I'm going to go back to the first one described, which was, you know, the indulgent treat at Saturday market. I agree. I think that is something that, you know, that people do want. The question that I would have is there something that differentiates what you will be providing? And forgive me, I missed the name, that you will be providing that is not otherwise provided in and around that area. So is there competition you're going to have to deal with? And if there is, we're going to talk about unique value proposition in just a minute. So that might be where you sort of bolster your position in that. Absolutely. I think that the clothing idea is marvelous. I love the specificity of the problem that is being solved there. I'm not even going to say anything. I think it's beautiful. Nancy, I know Nancy, and I love the work that she's doing with donkeys, and I don't think we need to say anything more there. And then
hang on.
Okay,
I'm going to
okay.
interrupt.
All right.
Here I am on the front page of the Fern Ridge Tribune.
Congratulations.
With the title, Working with Donkeys to Empower Students. So the headline answered the question.
That's perfect. That's perfect, Nancy. Congratulations. Excellent. And then Jennifer, for your bookkeeping, it can be hard with a service like bookkeeping because it can be hard to differentiate. I think you have started down that path. I think that there's perhaps more opportunity to really focus on the problem and what the problem means when somebody's you've mentioned a couple things in there. I love the statement, you know, doing this work so you can get back to the work you want to be doing, or whatever that statement is. I think that's a really powerful statement. I think that can be strengthened, be a little bit richer, so it describes a little bit more of the actual problem that is lived. But yeah, I think you've done a great job there. Excellent. All right. Who else would like to share?
I'm going to say that in our group, one that really stood out for me was Jay. He lives in Florence, which is really has a large retirement population over there. And a lot of the people are shut in and not getting outside. And he's looking at ways to get them outside and get them more interactive in the community. And I think that's a really great problem to solve, and matters because he said he's in his 60s and he's on the younger end of the spectrum. So there's a lot of people out there who are just closed in. And I think that's a really good problem to work on.
Mm-hmm. That's great, Amy. Thank you. And Jay, this is one of those areas where, you know, we can all listen to that description and we can all agree that sounds like a perfectly reasonable opportunity, a problem, and it's definitely a problem worth solving. The question will be, based on, you know, how you roll this out, will your prospective clients want to partake? And you do, but this is a kind of one of those perfect examples that's everything seems perfect, and then when it rolls out, it's like pulling teeth, you know, and it might not be that way at all. It might do exactly what you want, but this is an excellent example of one of those beautiful concepts that you just don't know how it's going to play out until we've either gone out and done some validation, which we'll be talking about in a couple of weeks, or you're actually in business and, you know, testing the waters live. It'll be really interesting.
Thank you. Those are the questions that we have as well.
Yeah, perfect. The right questions to have. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you for those who participated, and we're actually going to have a chance to hear from more of you later tonight. But let's go ahead and jump into the next section. It is 6:49. Actually, let's go ahead and take our 5-minute break rather than right in the middle of my presentation. Let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break right now, and we will. I'll see you back here at 6:55. Right? Okay. right. Welcome back, everybody. I had some, got a question about the music. It's Strunz and Farah. They're a guitar duo from Germany and somewhere in the Middle East. I'm not sure, but I've just always loved them. So I had some questions during the break that I just wanted to answer. First question was, how can you contact me outside of class? I'm going to put my email in the chat. Actually, I'll just go ahead and do that. And then also, if you want to request one-to-one advising, which we provide free of charge, it's either me or one of my team members. I've got 6 advisors on staff. You can request advising through that through a form, client intake form at lanespdc.com/start. And Ariel also provides advising, so you could reach out to her as well, and we'll just make certain you get that information if you need it. And then one other thing that came up is, for those of you who you're already running the business, or perhaps you've been running the business, actually Joe can attest to this, we have a program, and Jarl, we have a program called Small Business Management. It is a program we've been running for 38 years. It is a 9-month-long cohort, and you can run up to 3 years. There are 3 different curricula, so you can take it for multiple years. It is really a deep dive. It's often described by alumni as a street MBA. So if you are already running your business and you really want to dive in and become a better prepared business owner, small business management is something to consider. The next cohort starts in September. There is a cost for this. It's $585. It's worth $5,850. So it is an incredible deal, and something, like I said, we've been running for many years. And you can ask Carl or Joe. I'm sure it's Carl, Jarl, or Joe, and I'm sure they would give you a thumbs up on that. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into the next section here, which is your actual ideas. Let me get back to my, okay, I've got to do this right. I have to stop that share or it won't show me all my other screens. There we are. All right, open up the chat here so that I can watch that. Okay, so you were just in a breakout. We talked about that. Now we're going to be discussing your solution. And this is another 2-part question. The question is, what is your solution and what makes it special? Your solution is probably pretty simple. That's probably not something we really need to dive in. You know what your solution is. It is the what makes it special part that is really essential. It's really important for you to understand. So let's first talk about the different types of solutions. We're going to go through this fairly quickly because it's pretty obvious. Solutions are either products or services. Either you are selling something that a person takes away with them, or you are providing a service on behalf of them. Samantha, the problem I mentioned was small business management, and it's $585 for a year. All right. Yeah, so products and services. And products, they come in different forms. There are commodities, which we already described. These are products that lots of people want, lots of people buy in huge quantities, perhaps globally, certainly nationally. With commodities, you have very little control over your pricing. The market has determined what you can charge, and if you are going to charge something significantly more, then you have an obligation to find out or create a brand that people are willing to pay more for. If the product is not substantially differentiated, then your brand has to be special, and we see that. We see that historically. We would see that on shoes or clothing. My better half has she's complained for years over clothing that is of relatively average or poor quality, fabric that is poor quality, and it just costs a mint because it has a particular logo on it, that type of thing. So you can differentiate and take greater control of your prices, but it's harder to do there at the commodity level. Down where you see niche products, if you have a true niche, something that only you provide, then you've got much greater flexibility to charge what you want, as long as they are willing to pay. And if you're the only one providing something, they should be able to pay a little bit more than something they can't get. So niche products are, many of you will be in this niche area, or premium. So niche and premium are sort of the same. Premium, is kind of like what I was talking with commodity, is a product that has other products like it, but something about yours allows you to charge more, allows you to go after a higher price point. You might be wondering what an unsought product is. I got this list from a really interesting article, and they described unsought products as products that people really don't want. For example, the example they used was burial plots, right? Nobody really wants a burial plot, but everybody needs one. So those are different types of products, and complementary goods are products that are attached to something else, attached to another product. Great example of a complementary good. You might all know the company called PacTech. It used to be in Eugene. It moved down the road a little bit, down to Cresswell, I think. PacTech makes the hard plastic harnesses for plastic bottles, where instead of having the stretchy plastic that that the turtles get caught in, these are the hard plastic versions that you now see some things come in. PacTech makes those. That's a complementary good. Nobody buys that on their own. That exists because it's attached to another product. So those are the different types of products. And then services, there are many, many more than this. I'm just listing a few. Services could be education, business services, labor. Labor would be, for example, if you are a construction worker and you work on contract with somebody, you're not an employee of them, you're an independent contractor, you have a business. And some people don't think about that. If you are doing work and you're getting paid, whether or not you've got a website or a brand name, it doesn't matter. If you're doing work for other people, you are running a sole proprietorship. You are running a business. So any laborer who's on contract is a small business owner providing a service. And then there, personal services, social services. Intermediary is somebody who provides connective services, connecting one person to another. And then another way to look at this is just thinking about what you provide as either B2B or business to business. So are you providing products or services to a business or business to consumer? It's a really common way for people to describe their businesses. So here I've heard quite a bit of, when we're talking about we're talking about food, we're talking about business to consumer. When we're talking about bookkeeping, we could be talking about either business to business or business to consumer, depends on the client. But even more importantly, what is your unique value proposition? What is the unique value proposition of your offering? And here's a definition that I quote just because I think it's a great one. A unique value proposition, or UVP, is the core benefit or solution that differentiates your product or service from the competition and positions it as the best possible option on the market. Now, you might see USP occasionally, unique selling proposition. It's basically the same thing. It's the reason somebody would choose you over something else, right? And if we just think about the offering, this is just a Venn diagram describing where it is. You list what you do really well, what your competition really does well, and then what your customer needs and cares about, that part that only intersects with you and not your competition, that is your unique value space. So got more to talk about here. Any questions about this so far? I think it's pretty simple, pretty simple concept. Okay. All right. So what is your unique value proposition? Consider these when you're thinking about defining your unique value proposition. Will you follow through? As an ex-banker, I have to tell you, and this is not just for banks, but I have to tell you, I get really frustrated with banks claiming that their unique value proposition was how much they cared for their clients. First of all, every bank says the exact same thing, so it's not very unique, and few of them follow through on it. So that would only leave a few banks that actually do follow through on caring for their clients or providing a superior customer experience. But the reality is many would claim that and just not provide it. Did I do the, did I tell you about the survey that was done about 15 years ago that Bain and Company surveyed 300 and some odd businesses to ask them if they provided a superior customer experience? No, didn't share that one. Okay, so 15 plus years ago, Bain and Company back in the Northeast, they do a lot of big surveys. So I think the number was 385, but it was something like that, different businesses. And they asked them, do you provide a superior customer experience? Any guesses as to how many of the companies said yes?
90%.
90%.
99%.
I like your answers. Actually, you might be surprised. The number was 80, right? 80% of businesses said they provide a superior customer experience. And it's interesting that you all thought it was going to be a much bigger number than that. And that's great. They then went and asked consumers in the area whether they received a superior customer experience from these businesses. Any guesses as to what that number was?
25%.
25.
32.
32.
I got 40.
Now I've got you being conservative.
20.
Eric says 0. It's a little better than 0. 8 is the number. 8% of consumers in that area felt that they were receiving a superior customer experience from those businesses. 80% of which said they were providing that. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the businesses that actually were providing the superior customer experiences were not in the 80 that said they were. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the businesses that said, no, probably not, are actually the ones that were providing the greater service. All this points to just the numbers say that businesses generally do not follow through on those types of statements. So if you're going to claim a unique value proposition, make it something you will follow through on, right? Next, think benefits over features. We already talked a bit about this a little bit. So I can say that a unique value proposition for my car is, or say if I'm selling the car, I might say that the car has exceptional handling. It's peerless in its handling. Okay, well, that's okay. But to say that this car is better equipped to get you safely out of a potential wreck, and to get you out of a jam, that's a benefit, right? That's not a feature, that's a benefit. So if you frame your value proposition from how it's going to help the customer, how it's going to help the buyer, it's going to be stronger. So just think about that as you're thinking about your unique value proposition. You want it to be something that's difficult to imitate, and like the banks, it's pretty easy to say, yeah, we provide a superior customer experience. But make certain that what you are providing is difficult for others to claim as well, right? And please, no cliches. And this is, again, I keep coming back to the same thing. I spent a number of years with banks, and so that's what's in my head here. But to say that, and this happens all the time, what makes you special? Well, I really care about people. Yeah, that might be true. That doesn't mean a darn thing, because the opposite is to say that, no, I don't care about people. And nobody's going to say that. So, if nobody's going to say the opposite, just don't say that one. Okay, that's not going to work. So try not to use cliches, and then also, please no jargon. And by jargon, I mean language that is only known within your industry. I could say, yeah, the SBA or the SBDC over the past year, we have really proven our ability to help businesses apply for PPP, EIDL, SVOG, RFF, and SBA 7A and 504 loans. It's true. Doesn't serve anybody. There's nothing valuable in there. So avoid jargon. Speak in a language that others understand. Right? Okay, so here are a few unique value proposition examples that are solid. Walmart, save money, live better. Now that's also a tagline, and it works. Well, if you agree with the living better because they've saved money, there are certainly things, everybody's got complaints about all of these companies, but we're going to say that that's a legitimate value proposition. FedEx, I love this one. When it absolutely positively needs to be there overnight. And that's brilliant. That is brilliant. If you remember that, if you know of that, and you need something to get somewhere the next day, you're gonna go to FedEx. You're gonna do that. iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket. That's the benefit. Now they could have said we can store 1,000 songs on this device, but no, they're putting 1,000 songs in your pocket. That's the difference between the feature and the benefit. And my very favorite since I was a kid, melt in your mouth, not in your hands. I'm almost embarrassed to say this. So I actually went to college to score films. I wanted to write music for films. That was what I was studying at Northwestern and U of O. Never went anywhere. But when I was a kid, about 5th grade, I came up with a jingle for M&Ms. And it was a jingle with these lyrics. And I actually went through the process of writing out this jingle and sending the thing off to M&M. And never heard a word back. Years later, I found a copy of it. And I realized that when I actually wrote it out, I had transcribed it wrong. And it sounded horrible. But, years had passed and I tried not to dwell on it too much. But could have been, just wasn't. All right. So those are really solid, unique value proposition statements. Now understand, these are taglines. These statements are not describing what these companies do at all, right? But that's because we already know what these companies do. Nobody knows what your companies do. Nobody has that information yet. So you're not yet at the point where you can create a tagline and expect it to communicate everything, which is why we're utilizing a slightly different model. Once you get to a point where you can legitimately just create a pithy little statement like this, and everybody will already know your brand, and or it's really obvious because of the name or whatever, it's going to be fine. You can use that. Until then, you'll need to communicate a little bit more. But before we actually get into wordsmithing this, let's do another breakout. In this breakout, you're answering this question. and it's a two-part question again. What is your solution and what makes it special? What is its unique value proposition? Okay, so we're going to do another breakout about the same length, same number of rooms. In fact, they'll probably be the same groups if that's okay. Any questions before I drop you into the rooms? No? All right, then here they are. You are already all assigned. So here you go. Again, I will be hanging out here if you have to come back out for any questions.
Lady,
Yeah.
I got unique down.
Yeah, I saw that. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Go ahead and stop my share again. Okay, so let's hear a few examples of, we don't need to do quite as many, but a few examples of your, close this out, your solution and what makes it special. Heather?
I actually have to do this for somebody else. So Jennifer at USB Warehouse, and we had like 5 seconds left. She says, my solution is I provide solutions.
All right. I might recommend a little bit more detail in that, but
Hey, that wasn't bad for 5 seconds, Robert.
That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Who else?
All right, nobody else is going to jump in here. I will. I got to get used to dead air, but I'm just not used to it yet. So here we go. Eric Oshel is also on here as well. A similar sort of, we're partners in this sort of program trying to figure it out. And what it is a franchise, if you will. I don't know exactly what it's called, the type of franchise, but it's called Cycling Without Age. And it's out of Denmark. It's now in 52 countries. There's many different organizations within the United States already. In Florence, it would be a new idea, but it uses tricycles, if you will. They're called trishaws, and where you have 2 seats in the front, and a pilot is in the rear of the bicycle.
Got it.
And you're able to take people who can't get out, either senior citizens, disabled folks, other shut-ins, for free rides to get outside, to get out and have the air in their faces, to actually have somebody listen to them and talk with them while they're being piloted around slowly for that particular session.
Excellent. So I love the description, love the idea, really love everything about it. For our purposes here, one of our focuses is clarity, and clarity and brevity are really close to one another, right? So getting to a point where you can communicate all of that in within half of a sentence, right? That's where we're going. That's what we're going for eventually. Eric?
Can I take a stab at that?
Yeah, please.
So I was, same idea working with Jay. So I haven't quite wordsmithed it, but I got the concepts down and I can play with it. So basically it was just capturing our unique value. So it was go slow, feel the breeze, connect with the natural world, and then something about a guided ride and conversation with a friend. So
yeah,
pulling those ideas, and then we can wordsmith it to something cute. But
yeah, I do like that. I do feel it will be important and we're going to be getting to the mission statement model here in a second. It will be important to be a little bit more explicit about the solution, what it is you're actually doing, being a little bit clearer about that if it's not obvious in the name. So just something to think about. But I love the phrasing. I love the words you're thinking of. Edward, you were I think wanting to go.
I don't know if I'm doing this right or not, but one of the solutions I'm working on, I'm working to help the homeless in Eugene and Springfield. I'm 22 months clean and sober, and I also was homeless for 6 years. I work out of a church right now, volunteering, and I've been feeding and procuring food and clothing for the homeless since the day I got clean and sober. One of the things I found out is that one of the problems is we're putting all of our everything is going into taking care of the homeless being homeless. I want to provide a way for them to start addressing their barriers and getting clean and sober and getting jobs and becoming self-sustained. My hope is to open up housing, get some recovery houses that the minute a homeless person reaches out for help, it's there. Trying to get people into detox right now takes 5 days. In 5 days, that's a lifetime in a homeless person's life. And we lose them and they get lost. And so I want to give them immediate help, restore hope through positive thinking and action, and do it safely.
Excellent. Well, I don't think anybody's going to argue with the purpose. Clearly, you bring your own life experience to this in a way that few others can, which is going to be it should be a significant influence in the work you're doing, significant value of what you provide. For purposes of this experience, being able to, with as much clarity as possible, describe the services you provide will be important. Because ultimately that's what we want to get to. I want you to leave this program, this boot camp, with a crystal clear message about the work you're providing, why you're doing it, and what makes your approach to this so important. And so just it'll take time, but trying to pare down everything you're doing into a I don't want to say a sound bite, but into a very brief message is going to be that'll be the work. That'll be the hard part of this, is just because you're going to be doing a lot, it sounds like. But
Thank you.
Beautiful work. And it looks like you've been asked for contact information in the chat, so just let you know that. Excellent. All right. Well, I don't know that anybody, unless somebody really wants to go, I don't think anybody needs to go after that. So I think that's beautiful. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into, this is the, you've been working, and this is the real work now, is the mission statement. And understand, this is a mission statement model that was created specifically for this curriculum, for this class. So you're not going to see this anywhere else, but it serves a very clear purpose that I hope you will all agree with. So the Business Built Simple, or BBS mission statement, is answering the question, is a model to help you clearly and confidently state your business idea. Okay, that's what the model is designed to do. And you've already built it, you just don't know it yet. So in my world, a mission statement should clearly and concisely describe the problem worth solving, how you're solving it, and why your solution is best, especially when you're at this stage, when you're in the startup stage. As described earlier, businesses that have been around a long time or have enough brand recognition that people generally know what they do, they don't need to tell people what they do in their mission statements. They can make it more flowery. They can make it more poetic. They can make it more cool. Nike can say, just do it, and it actually means something. Imagine you had no idea what Nike was, and their tagline was, just do it. Well, that could be anything, if you didn't know the organization. So in your case, you've got to work a little bit harder. And so here are some examples of mission statements, sort of to reiterate this idea that businesses we already understand, they can take a little bit of license. So Tesla's mission statement is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Well, we know that Tesla is a car, so they don't need to say, you know, designing cars for this purpose. That's a given. TED, which is spread ideas, you know, that makes sense because we know TED. If we didn't know TED, that wouldn't make any sense at all. We would have no idea what that framing is. And then LinkedIn, actually, I love theirs. It's a little bit more fleshed out. It's more of a complete mission statement, which is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. I think that's a really solid mission statement. And actually, all you have to know is that LinkedIn is a connection platform. And everything's there. It's really sort of all inclusive. So I'm a fan of that one for our purposes. But the BBS mission statement is a by the numbers or plug and play or drag and drop mission statement. And it uses this equation, which is we solve whatever your problem we're solving is by, and then describing your solution and unique value proposition. It's as simple as that. It's a way to convert all of these conversations you've had over the last 90 minutes into a single sentence. And it's going to be a little bit long, but you can do it in a single sentence. You can. But if you can, and when you can, successfully list or drop your problem we're solving and solution into this equation in this format, you will have a crystal clear way to describe to people what it is you're doing. And I don't expect that to be easy for everybody. It might only be easy for a few of you, but it is doable and it's worth the effort. Because I can tell you, having worked with businesses, whether as a banker, working for nonprofits, working for the chamber, and here, there are a lot of business owners that still struggle to this day, who may have been in business for years, who, when you ask them about their unique value proposition, you just ask them the question, so what do you do? They have a hard time answering that question easily, quickly, concisely. They just struggle with it. They've never given it thought. And it's really valuable to be able to say with confidence, this is what I do. So here's an example from the SBDC standpoint. So this is something that I put together just earlier today as an example. So we solve the knowledge gaps of business owners. There's a problem with that, but we'll get to that in a second. We solve the knowledge gaps of business owners by providing free and confidential advising, core training, and a statewide network of topic experts. Okay. Actually, I think the bottom of that, our solution, that's pretty solid. It's more wordy than I would like, but I did want to get all three of those things in there. The fact that we provide advising, we have core training like this, and we've got a statewide network of experts that we can lean into for specialties. So it's a little bit longer than I would like, but I'm okay with that. I have a problem with the problem we're solving, because saying that there is a knowledge gap is not actually stating that there is a problem. I think it would be better if I were to write, we solve, actually, I would change the top to, we help solve the problems business owners face due to knowledge gaps by. You know, that way I'm really focusing on the problems that they face. I'm highlighting that business owners do have that. To be completely honest, I didn't change it right before this because I didn't want to have to change the font size, but I'll probably change it for future classes. Anyway, so that's an example. Again, it is a little bit longer than you would expect in a pithy, tagline type of mission statement, but that's not what we're going for here. What we're trying to accomplish at the end of this session is that you will at least have a start on this statement that clearly and concisely and confidently describes the business that you're wanting to create. So what I'd like to do now, I don't think we're going to go into another breakout. I'm going to give you 5 minutes with a little Strunson Farah background music. to put this together. And then I want to go around the room. We'll have 15 minutes. If all we're doing is just reading what you have put together, we could probably get through everybody. So we'll just go around and get through as many as we can, but I'm going to give you 5 minutes on your own to put together your version of this. And I'm going to go ahead and keep this up so that you have it to look at. Does that work? Okay. All right. You got 5 minutes.
Can I go ahead and say mine if I've got it?
Let's wait until we're done with
Okay.
this.
All right, I'll
done
wait.
with the work. All right, our 5 minutes are up, and I would kind of go ahead and stop sharing now. I don't think I have much left here. So what we're doing, what we're going to be describing now is what you would actually put into this element within your framework. If you're actually utilizing the framework, which I strongly recommend you do, you're answering the question, what problem will you solve and how, by plugging your mission statement into that spot. Your BBS mission statement goes here. So let's go ahead and stop share. And then I would love to hear from you. I'll actually point everybody's attention over to the chat where Olive and Patrick have kicked us off by making the statement that we help solve the misrepresentation of Native American art in the community by providing authentic and uh, unique form line art and clothing. Excellent. That's clear. That's clear. I don't think I have any question about what they do or why they're doing it. I think that's an excellent way to get us started. So Olive and Patrick, not sure where you are on my screen, but well done. Well done. All right. So I'm going to, there's a little Zoom hack for anybody who is interested. When you are in Zoom, if your monitor will allow it and you're watching people, you're watching all the screens, one of the challenges when you're trying to go through and talk to everybody is that everybody keeps moving around based on whether or not their video is showing, they're muted, all of that. But you can actually pick up and move the video squares. And once you actually move a video square, everybody stays in the same place. So it's a little hack for you if you're ever managing a Zoom meeting. So I am going to go ahead and I'm just going to walk through, and it is okay if you feel like you're just not there yet, want to pass, want to honor that if you don't feel ready. But if you feel like you're sort of ready and you want to give it a try, that would be optimal. Again, we got another another offering here in the chat from Nancy. The Way of the Donkey, which I just love. The Way of the Donkey helps young people gain self-confidence and personal empowerment through engagement with miniature donkeys and sometimes fuzzy goats. All right, that's beautifully stated. And yeah, I'm just going to say it's beautifully stated. I think we can all recognize that helping young people gain self-confidence and personal empowerment is a way of stating a problem. The problem is not explicitly stated in here, but the way you've described self-confidence and personal empowerment, I think there is enough of an understanding that it works. So I'm just going to say that's awesome. Jarl has mentioned the mission of Ski Bum's Garage, another great name, is to create a company that brings joy, knowledge, and a shared passion for sliding on snow. We strive to use all of these things to also do good through financial and physical donation of time in winter-related nonprofit organizations. Excellent. So, Jarl, I would say that I can tell what you do. I would say that I'm not quite certain where the problem worth solving is. I think it might imply that there is a lack of joy and knowledge and a place to share passion. But I feel like there's an opportunity there to be a little bit more explicit about the problem we're solving. T&L Fine Jewelry LLC solves the problem of boring fine jewelry, like that, made with questionable ethics and toxic production practices by utilizing ethically sourced, certified, recycled content metals and gemstones for an eco-kinder approach to the fine art of personal adornment. Hey, T&L, that is brilliant. All right, that is brilliant. I did not know of, boring, I can agree with that. But the questionable ethics and toxic production, that's really powerful. I think you've done a great job with that. Richard states, imagine floating comfortably into the future. Oregon Float Homes provides solutions. Okay, Richard, I love it. I need more. I just need more. I love it, but let's work on that. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Fern Ridge events, creating events that bring my community together in support of local businesses. Creating events that bring my community together in support of local businesses. So again, there's the inference that there is a need for community to come together that is currently unmet. If by explicitly stating that it would make it stronger, then I would do that. Maybe you don't believe it does, and that's fine. I think it is clear in there. Maybe it could be strengthened. Fergus, we feel the need for locally grown quality food and also supply conifer essential based remedies. That's really interesting stuff. It makes me want to ask for more information. I'm not entirely certain what the problem that you're solving is. Why is there, where is the need? Why does somebody need to come to you or want to come to you? Is there a lack of locally grown quality food? And if there is, that's great. I don't know. I don't automatically know that there is. And with regard to the conifer essential based remedies, which I'm really interested in, again, it's sort of two different products, two different solutions. They kind of require two different problems worth solving, but very interesting business model. Nobody wants to speak. I can see what's happening here. iPad Cecilia, we solve the desire for artwork by providing handmade stained glass decor for the home and garden. I love the stained glass, handmade stained glass. I love that. I just really like that art style. I think that you're going to want to validate the desire for artwork and get a little bit more specific about where that desire is coming from or when that desire wells up and is needed. I feel like there's a lot to do to strengthen that part of it.
It's not needed. That's the problem.
Oh, okay. Well,
no one needs stained glass.
Okay. Well, in order for your business model to be successful, you're going to need to find a place. You're going to need to find that audience that does want it, even if they don't need it, that wants what you have to offer. So that'll be your part, is get clearer and clearer about who it is that wants what you have. And once you've figured that out, then you can plug in that problem we're solving, because they want it because they currently lack it. So there's got to be something in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You bet. Dawn, we expand the capacity of the bicycle by providing human-powered trailer systems. Expand the capacity of the bicycle by providing human-powered trailer systems. I love the human-powered trailer systems. I can clearly see what you're getting at here, Don. I would like to see the in that benefit versus features, benefits versus features discussion. I would like to see that expressed more from the benefit side rather than the feature side, because you're really describing the feature. You're expanding the capacity of the bicycle, which is a feature, providing human-powered trailer systems, which is again a feature of your offering, as opposed to creating greater space for, or really thinking about the benefit from the consumer side. I love what you're doing, and I'm really interested to see examples of that. Yeah, just focus on features, and I think you'll be there. Okay, and Brendan under Irish Nation Coffee. Darn it, I lost my spot here. Hold on. Boy, everybody just went to writing it in the chat. That's actually good because now you can save the chat and everybody can look at each other's stuff for a while. So Irish Nation Coffee, we solve the craving for a cup of coffee by shipping excellent coffee right to your door. So Brendan, I've talked to Brendan before. Brendan is in, coffee is the largest commodity in the world. It's huge. So as we talked, it's one of those areas where in order to stand out, you really have to work on your branding. You really have to work on that value proposition. So I like the idea of shipping it to the door. You won't be the only one there though, right? There are other coffee shippers. I don't know how many are kind of local businesses, but there are definitely other coffee shippers. So that's something to think about. And I would love to see, because I've got Irish in my blood, I would like to see something about the Irish connection there in that unique value proposition statement. Yeah, the problem we're solving there, well, everybody drinks coffee, so it's kind of hard to know exactly where that's going to come from. But I'd really emphasize find a way to tie in Ireland into that discussion. All right, Jay, we solve not being able to be outside by providing free rides with caring pilots in our comfortable Trishaw bicycles. Jay, I love you've done the assignment exactly as described. So kudos there. And the not being able to be outside piece, that's a perfectly appropriate problem worth solving. I feel like that can be more, feel like that can be more catchy. I feel like there can be more in there that'll really grab people's attention. But you've done the assignment perfectly. Lucille, I solve boredom. That's great. By giving an inclusive fantasy-based coloring book experience. Lucille, I love that. And it's clear what you're doing. It's definitely unique. You're solving boredom, which is an audacious statement. I love the audacity there. So well done. And all right, US Speed Warehouse, we're going to work on that. Kelly Newberry, we solve short-term, long-term, and permanent dental staffing needs by providing qualified personnel at a moment's notice for planned leaves and to fill indefinite positions. So if I were your potential client, that would be perfect. You've given me everything I need to know about what you do. So very well done. The only question I guess I would have, Kelly, is are there other dental staffing entities that serve our area that do that? If not, then you're good to go. All right. And Maya, we help to solve the issue of low self-esteem in teens and young adults by offering inclusive clothing in a variety of styles and creating looks that build confidence. Maya, I just think that's beautiful. I just think that is beautiful. Okay, Joe. Bow Arts Fine Art Materials, your local discount art supply store, empowering your creativity, providing quality art materials, expertise, and guidance. So Bow, Joe Bow gets a bit of a pass here because she's been doing this for a long time. So we know she knows what works for her. In terms of the assignment, she has found a way to bring in people. So because she's had success, so she's found a way to bring in people. So she's solving a problem. I'm going to challenge you, Bo, to get more explicit about the problem that you are solving, and not right now, but I'd love to hear that from you. Excellent. And I think that would be beneficial for everybody at some point. So then we are down to Eric. We've got a lot of new messages. Okay, we are at 8 o'clock. I didn't get to everybody. I will continue reading these. If you have to go, I get it. Next week, just so you know, we're going to be doing a little bit of math. We're actually going to be creating what's called a feasibility quotient. If you've never heard of it, that's okay because I came up with it. But a feasibility quotient is a very simple calculation that you can do to assess whether your business idea can actually meet the goals that you have in mind for this business. So that's what we're going to be focusing on next week. Don't let the math scare you away. I call it napkin math because it's literally something you can do with a pen on a napkin. And so it's very simple. Thank you all for all of this work you've done tonight. If you feel like you're not quite clear enough yet, you know, just keep working at it. This work that you were doing today is absolutely at the core. It's at the heart of your business. And once you get this down, you're going to be years ahead of others who have gone on this same path, but just never got to the point of clarity. So well done. And we'll take like 30 seconds so people who need to leave can leave and say goodbye. And then I'm going to keep reading. All right. All right.
Hey, Robert, quick question for you.
You bet.
All of this, the slides and that paper, you know, the worksheets and stuff that you had behind you that you have posted, are those all going to be available so we can review those afterwards again?
Yeah, I can make the, I meant to do that. So Ariel, remind me, I'll turn the slides into a PDF and we'll make sure to get the slides out to you. And the only other document is that I'm focusing on, at least this week, is that clarity framework that you should all have. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big time note taker, so I I like to have all of it together. So thank you.
Yeah, and you should be able to click on the 3 dots down at the bottom of the chat, the 3 dots on the right, and click Save Chat. And you can save that as a text file and it will save to a Zoom folder that if you don't already have will be created in your documents. So you can save the chat from tonight if you'd like to review what people have communicated and review these.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You bet. All right, so let's finish this up. Eric, we solved the isolation, seclusion, loneliness, and lack of stimulation experienced by elderly people and others living in an assisted living situation by delivering free rides for you and a guest on a safe and stable 3-wheeled bicycle powered and guided by our experienced staff, thus providing movement, fresh air, companionship, and a natural stimulation of a guided outdoor ride. Eric, congratulations, you are now a citizen of Chile. So in Chile, they have never heard of the run-on sentence. And no, this is beautiful, Eric. You've got everything in here. I would just say that, yeah, you've absolutely done the homework. I would say that it needs to be half the size.
Right.
It just needs to be half the length. Otherwise, people would just get lost, right? But great job. You've done a great job answering the request. Paige, Golden Hour Beverages provide brewed to perfection. I'm not going to pronounce this correctly. Kratom tea. Sip to enjoy focus, clarity, and elation. Find your golden hour. Beautifully stated. Beautifully stated. So the statement, sip to enjoy focus, clarity, and elation, again, infers that there is a problem that people have. For my purposes, I would like to see that a little bit more explicitly stated, even if you're only using it for our purposes in class. I would like to know that what you are solving, the problem that you are solving, is a lack of clarity, a lack of joy. But for marketing purposes, what you have here is absolutely perfect. Okay. Samantha, we end the cycle of trial and error in healthcare by empowering people to discover hidden stressors and healing opportunities with a holistic, individualized approach, acquiring lifelong knowledge and tools for overall health. So what I love about that, Samantha, is the problem worth solving is clearly described. Your unique value proposition is well described. I'm not actually sure of the solution itself. I'm not actually certain what is being provided. So, which is interesting because that's usually, it's rare that that's the one thing that is not clear. But you've done a great job describing the rest. Larissa, I improve the holistic health of my clients by addressing their unique challenges and supporting small sustainable changes, making lifelong healthy habits. Excellent. And in much the same way as the previous one, I'm not entirely certain what the solution is that you're providing. So, yeah.
I think there's just a lot with health coaching because it encompasses so many different aspects of people's lives that it's hard to bring it down to like one specific goal because everybody's are different.
So if you were simply to say, and through coaching, support small sustainable changes.
Okay, I
Yeah,
gotcha.
just that much, because I didn't know if
Okay.
it was coaching or a product, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, perfect. Stephen, we tackle declining well-being by providing natural botanical blends to restore the vigor of youth. Yeah, that's really clear. Really clear. Yeah, I don't know that I think I'm just going to let that one go. I think that's really clear, Stephen. Well done. And Covered Bridge Mini Golf solves the lack of low-cost, family-friendly local entertainment by creating an inclusive mini golf course centered around local history and landmarks in Cottage Grove. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really clear. Really clear. Really well done. Natalie, we solve satisfying a craving for a treat by serving from scratch pastries and delicacies influenced by French and world cuisine. Well, that's lovely. Yeah, that's lovely. I love it. Kate's given us a work in progress. I create compelling photographs for individuals and businesses to help them tell their stories. I work with historic and modern technology to create digital content along with handmade heirloom prints and products. That's really good. That's really good. I do feel like there's an opportunity to, for our purposes, sort of strengthen the problem. So helping them tell their stories, I love that because I love storytelling. And I feel like there's an opportunity to be a little bit clearer about what the problem is by them not being able to tell their story, their inability to, let's see. I help individuals and businesses overcome their inability to tell stories by, something like that.
Thank you.
All right. And Darren, Oregon Rain is reversing COVID's devastating impact on our local economies by giving small business startups the funding, training, and mentorship ecosystem they need to succeed. Well done, Darren, and welcome to the room. All right.
Darren is our new Marcom person. Super exciting.
Wonderful. Congrats. Excellent. All right. And Jennifer, at Bookkeeping Compass, we assist business owners by taking care of the boring, tedious in the rear part of their business. I love that. By navigating through your financial transactions will if you ever talk to Paul, who's on my team, who's our financial guy, he would almost kiss you for utilizing that statement because he considers that the most important statement in business is inspect what you expect.
I had a one-on-one with Paul and he told me I could use that.
Oh, very good. All right. I will say that you might want to test that when you talk to people. You might want to ask them if it is clear to them what you mean when you say that, because it's clear to you, it's clear to me, but if you're going to use it more widely, it might not be clear to the rest of the world what that actually means. But I think you did a really good job there. All right, and that may be, oh, we got one more here from Edward. Hope rides again temp housing that restores hope rides again temp housing that restores hope through immediate help. Learning the importance of thinking and acting responsibly. and addressing barriers to being self-sustained in a safe, clean, and sober environment. Very good, Edward. Very good response. You know, after I know I kind of pushed you on your response earlier, but you've done a great job of paring this down. Great job of paring this down. And I think there's opportunity for everybody. There's opportunity to wordsmith this. I mean, this was what you did in 5 minutes, kind of off, on the fly here. But everybody did a really great job. So I really can only say, well done, and keep working on it. Again, this is the heart. This is if your business idea is really explained here, and if you can get your business idea clearly and confidently stated in the span of a single sentence, you are well on your way. All right. Okay. Well done, everybody. Sorry, we did go over a little bit. And we'll see you next week and do a little bit of napkin math.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Take
Great
care.
stuff. Thanks, y'all.
Take care,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Good night. Thank you, Robert.